Good day, I'm Veronique Ogbanje, and we are here to consider a topic: basic skills and principles in content development. Basic skills and principles of content development. And I would like to emphasize here that content development, in this case, we are talking of multimedia content development. So before we get into the basic skills and principles, let's understand what multimedia content means. As we all know, media are various ways we communicate, channels of communication. So when you say multimedia, we are saying that using several ways of communication or several channels. And in education, when you are developing your multimedia content, there are 5 elements that need to be included. We should have pictures, we should have sounds, we should have animations, we should have video and text, most importantly, because in traditional teaching is chalk and talk. We only work with text. But when we talk about multimedia, we engage these 5 elements. So what are some of the skills a teacher should have in order to be able to develop multimedia content? Presentation skills are important. For example, Microsoft PowerPoint is a very good example of a presentation software. A teacher should be able to use that. And once you use a presentation software, you will be able to combine those 5 elements I talked about, which are pictures, sound, animation, video, and text. Also, you could do video recordings of your class. You could use pictures. You could also use drawings. Anything that affects the seeing, the hearing of the students, okay, that appeals to their sense of sight and their sense of sound, and even the feeling can be categorized as multimedia. So I want to introduce us to a concept in the course of this class, and it's called cognitive theory of multimedia learning. This theory was developed by a man called Meyer. And what does the theory say? There are 3 basic assumptions in the cognitive theory of multimedia learning. The first one is there are 2 separate channels, which are auditory and visual, for processing information. What it's trying to say, relating it to our classroom environment, is that the students process information in 2 ways. Auditory means what they hear, and visual means what they see. So that emphasizes the importance of multimedia. Number 2, there is limited channel capacity. What we're trying to say is that the attention of the students are limited. You have to do something to captivate their attention. When you bore them, you make the class too long, too monotonous, you've lost their attention. And number 3 says, learning is an active process. Active process of what? Learning is an active process of filtering, selecting, organizing, and integrating information. So with multimedia, when you involve multimedia to your teaching, then that active process goes on well. Then I would like us to look at some of the principles of multimedia content development, still based on from this theory. I would like us to look at some principles of multimedia content development. So we'll flip this chart so that we can see some principles. Okay, so principles of multimedia design. The first principle I would like us to look at is coherence. What do we mean by coherent? When you are designing content for the classroom, the point should follow. It should flow through a natural sequence that is easy for the learners to understand. In short, I would like to say keep it simple. Do away with extraneous information that are not necessary. And then we talk about signaling. What does signaling mean? Signaling means giving your learners a clue. A point should lead to the next point. For example, if I'm talking about photosynthesis, after defining photosynthesis, I should be able to give them a clue that the next subtopic is stages of photosynthesis. So signaling means giving them a clue, making them anxious to expect the next point. And then redundancy, we can see it in bracket. Avoid it. What do we mean by redundancy? Redundancy refers to a case where in a material you see information that are not useful, extra information that are distracting. Avoid it. Everything you present to the student should be what they can learn within a frame of time. Most lessons are 40 minutes. Whatever material you're presenting in your multimedia content should be what? Relevant materials. Some teachers have the habit of going to the internet and copying directly and pasting. That is wrong because there are some redundant information. Even if you use the internet as a resource material, you should be able to edit, you should be able to sieve, you should be able to filter and organize the information. And then we talk about contiguity. What does contiguity mean? Contiguity means, in the case of multimedia content, the pictures and the words should flow together. They should go simultaneously. Even the sound, they should all go what? Simultaneously. If I show the picture of a dog, I shouldn't wait till the next slide before I start talking about, or 2 slides after I start describing a dog. No. Once I'm showing the picture of a dog, the next thing should be what? The name, D-O-G, and then the explanation. So the information should flow simultaneously. And then the 5th principle we'll be looking at is segmenting. What do we mean by segmenting? I'll use an example. Segmenting means breaking information into understandable bits. I'll use an example. If you're showing students a video clip, it's better to keep the video short. 3 minutes, you explain. 5 minutes, another 5-minute video, you explain. Instead of giving a whole 15 minutes video, it will be too long and the message will not be passed on effectively. So segmenting means breaking it down. We all know YouTube. There are YouTube size videos. When you go to YouTube, you see some videos 3 minutes, some 5 minutes, some 10 minutes, at most 20 minutes. Any video beyond 20 minutes, it's too long. The message will be lost in the process of time. So segmenting is a very important principle in multimedia design. And then 6 means pre-training. Before you begin to teach or to design with multimedia content, you should have introduced them to that concept before. For example, if I'm teaching about the family in social studies, that's a very popular topic in social studies, the family. If I'm teaching about the family, I want to show them a PowerPoint presentation on the members of the family or the function of the family. At least I should have taught them, maybe during the course of that lesson or the previous lesson, I should have taught them what a family is. I shouldn't just introduce a topic with multimedia concepts. Multimedia design is more like, multimedia content is more like a supplementary material supporting the main teaching. I should have done the main teaching and then I use this to reinforce learning. So pre-training or pre-lesson or pre-class or introduction to what you would be teaching with the multimedia content is very important. And then we talk about modality. Your work should flow in a good sequence. Picture, sound, everything should come well. when you as the sound is flowing, at least there should be written text, something like a subtitle. When we watch films, either in English or in any other language, the writing flows with it. So even if you can't hear what people are saying, you can read it. So it is with multimedia content in the class. And then we have personalization, we have multimedia as I explained before. Whatever content you're designing for the 21st century students should have what? Combination of different media for effective lesson delivery. That point cannot be overemphasized. Then we talk about number 9, personalization. Your content should be in a conversational style, not a formal style. What do I mean by that? Make it simple. Even when you have to include sound, let it be a friendly voice. We all watch television adverts. You see the way they do it in a friendly way, in a captivating way. So our content in the classroom should be like that. Your text should be written in good font. It should be in a conversational style, and then it should look real. The student should be able to relate with whatever content you are delivering. And then we have active learning. Just by using multimedia content alone, basic use of multimedia content is not active learning, that is passive learning. I'll give an example. A teacher just comes to the class and just slots in a video clip, and after the students watch it, the teacher walks out. That is passive learning. There is nothing active about that learning. Okay? But to make it active, to make the student interact, before the class, tell them that they should take note of whatever they watch on that video clip, because questions will follow. And then you could even incorporate the questions into the material while designing it. Or you could ask orally, or you could even write it down on the chalkboard. For example, if my students I make them watch a video clip on the history of Nigeria. After the video clip, I should be able to bring out 5 or more good questions from that. I ask them, based on what you have viewed, why did Nigeria agitate for independence? Or who were the frontliners in the fight for independence? Ask them thought-provoking questions, creative thinking, to bring out the creative thinking in the students. So these are the 10 principles of multimedia design. I'll quickly run over them. I believe you'll remember at least 3 or 4 while doing your work. We have coherence, signaling, redundancy, avoid it, contiguity, segmenting, pre-training, modality, multimedia, personalization, active learning. So there are some questions you need to ask yourself as a teacher about content development or content design. The first one is, who are my students? You should know the students you are dealing with. You should know their learning ability. You should know their interests, what captivates them. Then the next question you should ask yourself is, what content am I trying to cover? Under that point, you should refer to your instructional objectives. When I'm designing my multimedia content, when I'm developing my content, will it capture all the points in my objectives? If I have 3 objectives, at least my content should be able to cover those objectives. And then, what is your it leads us to the next one, your expected outcomes. By using this content, multimedia content, will you achieve the stated objectives? Those are questions we should keep in mind. So I would like to conclude with 4 simple points. Basic skills and principles of content development. Number 1, keep it simple. Simplicity is genius, they say. Keep your material simple so that even in your absence, sometimes the students may take these materials to their homes to study. Even in your absence, it should be self-explanatory, explicit points. So keep it simple. Another rule is keep it short. Don't bore your students with details. Making material too long, unnecessary details, it's wrong. Keep it simple. Keep it short. Number 3 is keep it real. Explain to them concepts that they can relate with so that there is transfer of learning to the real world situation. And the last one is keep it good. Keep it good means do your best, give your best, and you'll get the best reward.